Hey everybody, Cress Is Mean here with another video. And in this video, I'm just going to go over this team that I just recently created for the Uber's metagame. And I actually entered a tournament with it, and I did really well. So I'm just going to go over the team real quick and then just show you some replays. But so pretty much like when I was building, I knew I wanted to use Zacian Crowned and Eternatus. Still really bad with pronouncing that name, but these two are they're typically regarded as the two best mons in the tier. I mean, just because they hit so hard. So pretty much, it's a pretty standard set for the most part for Zacian. Um, Close combat, play rough, Behemoth Blade, and then I have Solar Blade because, as you'll see, I have non Gmax Cinderace, and I can set up Sunny Day practically, set up Sun to where Solar Blade is a one turn attack. So it's really good for like dealing with like Quagsire because that's like a common Pokemon that you'll see that can wall Zacian. But if I have Sun up, then I can one shot it. So that's a kind of like nice little tech there. But yeah, it's a pretty standard set. Obviously, Ratchet Sword, and this thing hits really hard. I mean, this thing's broken. 170 attack, 148 speed. Enough said there. But next we have Eternatus here, a Life Orb offensive set because I just wanted to do massive damage, and this thing just hits really hard with 145 special attack and 130 speed, and obviously has pressure, and then Dynamax Cannon, Sludge Bomb, Flamethrower, and Toxic. So I was running Toxic again just because the team struggled at times with kind of bulkier teams like Stally teams, so um, I wanted to be a little bit better at dealing with those. So Toxic's kind of nice at times. But yeah, it's a pretty standard set though, just offensive. Um, Next, we have our Choice Scarf Lunala here. And I really haven't seen many Choice Scarf Lunalas, which is surprising to me because Moongeist Beam is such a hard move to switch into. There's not a lot of good options for that, aside from your Chanseys and Blessies, and then your occasional T-Tar. But Choice Scarf Lunala is just so good. I mean, Moongeist Beam, Psychic, great stabs, and then Moonblast is great coverage. And then you can also trick walls and trick the Choice Scarf on them. And Shadow Shield is just a fantastic ability. It's just like multi-scale. So if you're at full HP, you take half the damage you normally would from an attack. But pretty standard stat distribution, max speed, max special attack investment. But yeah, I mean, Choice Scarf Lunala is like it catches a lot of people off guard because a lot of our people have been gravitating towards like a bulkier like calm mind sets and like toxic roost stalling sets. But I really like the choice scarf set on this. But yeah, so next up we have our heavy duty boots Cinderace here with Libero, and as you'll see, I don't have a Lunala does have access to defog, but I didn't want to pack defog because I felt like I wanted to run those other moves. So Cinderace kind of plays kind of a supportive role in a way for this team, which is kind of crazy to think that Cinderace can play that kind of role. But with heavy duty boots, we don't take any damage from hazards, and we don't get affected by sticky webs or anything like that. And then we have court change. So court change switches the side that hazards are on. So if it's on my side, I use court change. Now it's on my opponent's. And a lot of these Uber teams typically don't have great defoggers or rapid spinners. So it's really nice to be able to court change and like if someone tries to hazard stack you with rocks or spikes or sticky webs, you can just give it right back to them. So it's really clutch. But yeah, and another three moves are like Pyro Ball, Hijack Kick, and Sucker Punch. Pretty standard moves. It kind of sucks how you can't run U-turn if you want to run a court change, but court change has proven itself to be like a fantastic move for this set, and it's been so useful. But yeah, next up we have our AV Magearna. So a lot of times people would just put like a Blissey or Chansey in this role, but I do really like Assault Vest Magearna because it has a lot more offensive prowess. Even with no investment, you're almost at 300 special attack, and you have some really good moves in your arsenal. Obviously, Floor Cannon and Flash Cannon are really nice moves, and then Focus Blast is great coverage, and then Volt Switch is like the most important move on this set. I really liked Magearna because it could give me a nice slow Volt Switch into one of my big threats. You look at my first four Pokemon with Zacian, Eternatus, Lunala, and Cinderace. Getting them in for free is huge because like they can just start opening up holes in my opponent's team. Um, But AV Magirna just eats hits for days. Like it takes on so many threats easily. Like like the big common special attacking threats like Nunala, Eternatus, stuff like it takes a hit from Reshiram, which is crazy. Um, just common like special attackers, like Kieran White, stuff like that. Mewtwo, just eats hits from stuff like that. So it's been like a really surprising good member. And even though I like to Dynamax Cinderace most times if I can, sometimes I end up Dynamaxing my Magirna. And it's actually a really, really good Dynamax candidate because, we're so bulky in Dynamax with AV, and then we can use Max Steel Spike to raise our defense. So, like, you're just being insanely bulky. But Magirna's been great. And now we have the MVP of the team here, our Pyukumuku, with Leftovers and Unaware. With Soak, Toxic, Recover, and Block. So pretty much Pyukumuku is able to trap a lot of the metagame. It's insanely bulky with 130 defense and 130 special defense. Not great HP, but if you invest, you could take hits. And Pyukumuku is just really good at trapping stuff with block, and then soaking them if they're not affected by toxic, or just to like get their stab options away, and then just toxic stalling. And I can't tell you how many different mons are able to be trapped by Pyukumuku. Like you'll see in some of the replays, Pyukumuku is just like a really good mon. Um, it's fantastic. Like I mean, I've used his team on the ladder and we got to top 500, and then I answered it in this tournament, and I'll go over the replays now. But yeah, so that's the team. You could make the comment that Quagsire is obviously the better option. And most times I would say Quagsire is, but I really like it on. I really like Pyukumuku because just of its toxic stalling and blocking and just trapping things. Because it's not good. It's not only good for offensive threats. It's great for trapping defensive threats too. And then the other thing is just that Pyukumuku is just a better all around mixed wall because like if it can trap a lot, actually a surprising amount of special attackers too. But yeah, so that's a team. We'll go over some replays here. So the first one we had here was against. Ooh, I don't know I don't know how to pronounce the name, to be honest. Forgive me. But anyway, his team, he has Cinderace, Dracovish, Eternatus, Solgaleo, Hydreigon, and Gengar. And pretty cool team. The only one like I'm not sure on is this Gengar. But I know Gengar could like pack some heat like Destiny Bond, Taunt, stuff like that. So it's not a bad mon. Um, and the rest of the mons are really, really scary. But pretty much what ends up happening, you'll see he gives Gengar, nice get Volt Switches off. And Magirna's so good because it just takes hits all around. So pretty much what happens is we're kind of just doing some chip against some of his mons. He ended up getting a crit on Pyukumuku, but I was able to heal back up. But pretty much, it's beginning of the battle. You're kind of filling out the opponent, trying to get an idea of what they're wanting to do. But Gengar would be really scared for my team if I didn't have AV Magirna. AV Magirna just walls that, which is great. But as you'll see, like with that slow Volt Switch, I'm able to get like a lot of good chip on his team with just going into Zacian for free. And he can't do much. And when we have a great Dracovish answer with Pyukumuku, we can freely do that. Every time it brings in Hydreigon, I can go Magirna. Like I'm not worried. And I'm just continuing the Volt Switch and just get chip off on stuff. And Zacian can just start to go in. Luckily, we don't get burnt, so then we're just able to keep chipping stuff down. I'm getting really good chip against his mons. Um, so, and then I get to go to Pyukumuku when I need to, if I need to take a hit better, and it just eats hits. But pretty much what happens here is we end up just trapping this Eternatus because I just wanted it dead. I wanted to try and kill it because it was just really annoying. It's just such an annoying mon to face, and it's very hard to kill. And this is a bulky one, so I wanted to just get rid of it. So I was like, I'm fine with pretty much putting Pyukumuku on the timer and stuff. That's fine. But we still end up with 50 health, so we can come back in. But pretty much like when Eternatus died, like we were in a great spot because that was a lot of his defensive pressure gone. And now I can just go to Lunala and just start spamming Moongeist beams. And I went Lunala because I was trying to scout the Hydreigon for Scarf. I never actually found out if it was Scarf. I'm guessing it was, but I'm not sure. But I just see here, like I'm just pivoting myself in a spot where Zacian just picks up free kills, and I end up sacking it here, but like it did its job. And then now I can just go into my other huge offensive threat in Eternatus, um, and then just start firing off very strong attacks and clean up. Um, well, we died in Dracovish, but yeah, I mean, yeah. So that's pretty much the team because it was Scarf Dracovish, but that's pretty much what a team's supposed to do is just open up opportunities for my wall breakers just to go in and get free kills. But that was the first round of that tournament. We'll go to the second round here, and we are facing Ladigod, and he has an interesting little Sun team here. So definitely a little scary. But as you'll see here, I expected him to leave Torkoal, but he actually leads Lunala. So I was like, I led Eternatus. I'm like, I'm just gonna switch out. We have a great switch in with Magirna. Psyche's doing nothing. And then, we just get free Volt switches off. I was trying to trap that Zacian quick to see if he didn't know, but I think he knew. But look at that Moongeist beam. It only does 33 to Magirna, which is crazy. That it does that little because Magirna is just so bulky. We're just getting free chip with our Volt switches, which is great. But as you see, I end up winning the speed tie, so that's great that we won that speed tie. But now that Zacion's gone, that's one of his best offensive threats gone. And now we can just go in with Eternatus because he doesn't have great answers to it. And I made a hard read here. He was in with Torkoal, and I felt like he was he's gonna go into Crossbow, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna make the play and go for Flamethrower because I didn't lose anything if I didn't because we were so bulky. And we do massive damage and kill the second one. So that was great. That pretty much that probably just straight up won me the match. But you'll see here he starts fighting back a lot more. Pretty much, he gets up rocks and I end up his court changing, so you got to see what court change is meant for. So really nice because now that charge is going to take 50% because I'm assuming it's not boots. But as you see here, now I can go Eternatus, easily kill the Torkoal because we're so strong. Then he goes into his own. I decided just to go Pyukumuku to scout out its set a little bit, and he actually has Solar Beam, so that's a really cool set. I do really like that. So he has some pretty strong strats here with that Solar Beam. That's really good for dealing with stuff like Quagsire. So, but he actually just lets me kind of live. I don't know why he let me live because then I was able to get the Toxic off on this Charizard. But as you'll see here, the Charizard's a bit of an issue. I actually just Dynamaxed here because there was no point in Dynamaxing my Magirna because I was too low to really live a hit, really aside from Eternatus, but I lived it anyway. So I'm like, I'm just gonna max guard and just start Toxic stalling him more. I try doing it because all my moves are actually max guard when I'm maxed. But I see I'm getting the chip on the Charizard. I just go to Lunala because I know I can take any one hit. Luckily, he doesn't air slash flinch me to death, so we just killed the Moongeist. I think he wouldn't die from Toxic anyway, but still. So now we're in a really good spot. I just played it safe here because I didn't want to risk my Lunala dying because it was great for cleaning up late game. So I just sacked Eternatus. But I go Zacian now. I know he can't kill me. We're just going to kill Eternatus. It was a crit, but another one would have killed him anyway. So it didn't really matter. And then he goes to Nala. And he actually wasn't Scarf. I was scared that he was Scarf Nala. And that could have been a big problem. But since he wasn't Scarf, we would have easily been able to kill with Lunala late game. We just needed to chip on the Eternatus. But yeah, so that was the second round. And then the last round here, this is actually the finals. It was a pretty small tournament, but it was fun. But this is the finals here, and this guy, he has Zacian, Quagsire, so Quagsire, Pyukumuku, gonna have to fight it out here. Titar, Corviknight, Eternatus, and Ditto. So he has a really good team. Definitely some big threats. I'm not really sure what I'm assuming. The Corviknight's most times is Dynamax Mon, with max airstream kind of stuff. But so I was definitely really scared about that. And then obviously Quagsire is annoying to deal with too. But pretty much what I decided to do is just leave Magirna. Magirna is a lot of times my lead because it's pretty safe to just lead with it because there's barely anything that can really KO it one hit and I can get a Volt Switch off and get momentum. But he goes Zacian, and I go like Pyukumuku because I didn't want to take damage. And I know I can take hits. And I believe I tried to block him first turn or something, where I soak. Yeah, I blocked. You know, the reason why I went for block is just to see if I could catch him. If I could eliminate one of the biggest threats off the board immediately. Why would I not take that chance? But I didn't lose anything by doing that. And I can just easily go Magirna on Eternatus, and he's actually a sub variant, so that's pretty cool. But Magirna is strong enough to break that sub. He flamethrowers, does 39. I flash cannon, and then I make a key play on this turn here. So I'm expecting him to stay in and attack again, and I'm like, do I use my Dynamax turn to kill this thing? And I'm like, I think it's worth it because this thing's such an annoying threat. I really just want to get rid of it. So I decided just to Dynamax here, and I'm gonna lose the flamethrower because I'm Dynamaxed, and I'm able to kill it, which is great. So I'm like, I was super happy about that. And then he goes T-Tar, and I was expecting the T-Tar to be outspeeding me and kill me, but we actually outsped because we have a little bit of investment, and we get like massive damage off. So I'm like, that's great. And he is stealth rocking. So I believe I max fairy whatever, and he goes Corviknight. So I get damage off on that. That is 41% because of my Soul Heart boost. And then I actually outspeed again this Corviknight. So I'm assuming he has 0 speed investment on Corviknight. And I was just able to Volt Switch, and it does massive damage. So now the Corviknight's in a very tough spot here. And he body presses, that's fine. And now I'm expecting him to switch out. So I'm like, I'm going to court change. Even if he roosts, I think we have ways to deal with this Corviknight because we can trap it with Pyukumuku and Toxic it. We have ways to deal with it. So I went for court change and I expect him to switch out. And he did, which is great. I get the court change, so now the rocks are in his end. And then I can just kill his T-Tar with the high jump kick the following turn. So you get to see like why Heavy Duty Boots court change Cinderace is like actually surprisingly really good. Obviously, you think of Cinderace as like the Life Orb sweeper or something like that, but Heavy Duty Boots court change is really quite nice. But pretty much like we're in a really commanding spot. Like we need to mess up to lose this game, but it's still definitely possible. And we get some really good information here. He actually has Wild Charge, so we got to be careful about that with Pyukumuku. So we need to like recover each time. So pretty much like here, I was just forcing him to go for Wild Charge and just get chip on it because I needed chip on Zacian because I didn't want to go into one of my other mons and take damage because I wanted to keep him as healthy as possible. And there was no point to not just going Pyukumuku because he's pretty much forced to Wild Charge if he wants to do notable damage. So pretty much he's weakening himself. He eventually switches out into Quagsire. And I just get a Toxic off. And then I stall a few turns just so Toxic can build up and block him in. And, pretty much we just both Toxic each other. We're just kind of stalling because he's trapped. And then I make the play here into Cinderace and sack it off. If he didn't attack, I could stay and just attack, and then the Toxic's going to wear him down. But since he killed me, and the Toxic, see that the Toxic took him down to 27. Now I can just easily go into my Lunala here and just fire off a Moongeist Beam because it's going to kill anything that comes in. So he goes Corviknight to sack it off, which is good. Good move. And then he actually goes Zacian, probably because, like I said, a lot of people aren't running Scarf Lunala right now, which is crazy to me because I think Scarf Lunala is really, really good. So we're actually going to outspeed with our Scarf and kill it, which is great. And then he goes Ditto, and we were in a commanding spot. So this is why I was so confident with going into Lunala because I knew Ditto couldn't revenge kill me because I had my Shadow Shield up, and there's still a chance that with our Choice Scarf we're going to be speed tying with Ditto, even if it is scarfed, and we have a chance to outspeed it and just kill it anyway. And with the Shadow Shield being broken, we would kill this no matter what. So pretty much we were just meant to sweep here, right when we eliminated T-Tar and Ancient Odyssey, because Lunala was just able to go in against these weakened Pokemon. But as you see here, I actually win the speed tie, which is great. And then obviously Quagsire's not going to be able to live, so he forfeits. But yeah, so there were some really good battles. I really like this team. To be honest, I've been using it on the ladder and I've been really liking it. But Pyukumuku, man, keep an eye out for this guy. He can do some work. You'd be surprised. Um, but yeah, I mean, I definitely think that it challenges Quagsire for the best unaware wall right now. It, in my opinion, I still think Quag's obviously typically better in most cases, but Pyukumuku it's pretty fire. So and Pyukumuku is also a ZU Pokemon, which is crazy. That it's that low. It says PU, but that means it's actually right below ZU. It doesn't have the markings for it, which is crazy. That's kind of sad. But Pyukumuku, man, ZUmon beating up on some movers. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll definitely be coming out with some more soon. But till next time, I'll see you guys later.